Tesla's full self-driving is evolving rapidly, and the version 13.2.9 brings some important updates that refine both behavior and perception. In this film, we are putting it to a test across some real-world scenarios. That the system has vastly improved is beyond doubt, and those who have used it since its earliest versions will surely have noticed the progress. Users will form different opinions about it. Its incidents and failures will go viral and create all kinds of impressions. But remember, the ultimate test of the system will be whether it can reduce its error rate to a level lower than that of an average human driver. That's the threshold where wider acceptance will begin, in my opinion. We've covered nearly all regular city features by driving it on our usual city route. We'll also dive into what's new under the hood and test features like parallel parking, auto summon, and several other key driving maneuvers to see how they have fared in terms of precision, safety, and time taken. It's a great time to see how far FSD has come. So let's get into it. So let's kick things off with the new one press start for FSD. This is the same test route you have seen before on this channel with earlier versions. I'll skip the red light wait times and highlight key maneuvers, traffic features, rules the system handles, and any other standout moments as they come up. We are starting off from a parking spot as you can see and heading into a neighborhood street that will lead us to a main road with the first set of lights. That was a bit too aggressive and quite unlike the previous versions that I had tested. Assertive some may call it, and quite like most human drivers you come across. There's a library drop box and a small turnout where cars pull in to return books. It's also a place where pedestrians often cross the street, so it's a key spot to yield. With the box right there, it gets a bit tricky for passing cars. We are now at the first four-way intersection. Gentle stop and go. On the main street, things are smooth. I have picked the rightmost lane, which works well since our next turns to the right. The only catch is there are a few bus stops up ahead that could cause traffic to build. Beyond just being in the right lane, the system will eventually need to factor in things like that. You also have to watch for cars merging from the right in this lane, something it seems to handle well. One big leap FSD has made is in spotting objects, especially other cars, and doing it quickly. That's the biggest intersection on our route, and also a notorious one. FSD still changes lanes in the intersection occasionally, and that's a ticketable offense, 100 feet on either side. We'll wrap up this section of the route. I have broken it into smaller parts to highlight different traffic features. That way I can track changes over time across versions. I'll pull over here and restart for the next section. A halt in another neighborhood. Let's get the one press started again. It's holding on just a bit to ascertain a safe time to merge on the street. It's taken its place on the street very gradually and very smoothly. The street has a bend and there are cars parked, but it's nicely aligned with the center line. Just what you want. We are at the next four-way intersection and a huge semi is making its turn. So it's all good and it's proceeding as expected. I'll be cutting it here to get it to our preferred route. That's the one where we have lots of like-to-like comparisons. And it will also help us check the system on an intersection with an unprotected left, a very important traffic feature. To those unfamiliar, an unprotected left requires you to be mindful of oncoming traffic even when the lights are green for you, along with for pedestrians that may be crossing to your left. It's a tricky feature for most new drivers. That's the reason I emphasize on its inclusion in any review of full autonomy in a city drive. It's a clean turn with no cars or pedestrians to look out for. It's landed between the third and the fourth lane to subsequently correct itself to get into the third. That's the lane change initiated towards the right. We'll be making the right after the intersection. We are getting a red light and I'll cut it to save time. That's a way too aggressive turn, especially for the size of the street. This is something that keeps going forward and back. The turns had been that much more gentle earlier. I'll take charge and add the destination to the next segment. Back on FSD. It's confused a bit, so we'll egg it on. It's probably been tricked by the incoming traffic over the bend. If anybody from the Tesla team is watching, you may want to take note. Okay, so steady start and it's turning into the second lane. Should get on the left one for the turn ahead. That's the indicator to the left. Good. I thought it would have started in the left one in the first place. Hold on, it's turning into the right lane again and without any indicator. Only to turn back into the left, this time with the correct indicator on. That's super dangerous and a major point of failure. This is crazy. Have not seen this before. That's definitely a red mark and very disappointing. Guys, if you're watching this, it's happened very quickly, all in 3 to 4 seconds. And that's enough for a crash. Shocking, was definitely much better in the earlier versions. We are rolling into another neighborhood now. Perfect time to talk about that little incident. By the book, a turn signal should go on at least 5 seconds before the turn. Sure, most human drivers don't bother, but it's still good practice. And I expect the system to nail it. What happened here? It turned into the lane first, then hit the indicator, only to cancel it right away. And the kicker, it wasn't even needed for the route. Now, if there was no set route, I'd get it, but we had one. That's a definite flag and something I'd love Tesla engineers to dig into. I was watching my blind spot the whole time. I always am when filming, but an everyday driver might not be. Lane discipline, usually a bit loose on turns, but on main streets it's been solid for a while. That's why this one caught me off guard. I have noticed sometimes after an update it backslides on things it used to handle beautifully. We are now turning into the school zone on our route, but it's sailing well and it's safer now in summers here. So let's take this time to check what's new in this version as published. Tesla's full self-driving version bundled with the spring update might not look flashy on the surface, but under the hood it packs meaningful upgrades to vision, performance and user experience. At the core of this update is a major overhaul of the neural network stack. Tesla has transitioned to full resolution video inputs using the newer A14 camera suite running at 36 frames per second. This means the car now sees more, sees it faster, and processes it with greater accuracy, pushing closer to human like perception in real time. I do feel they just might look at additional technologies, if not now, then at some point. Beyond vision, this update resolves a long standing issue with the TCU or the Telematics Control Unit, improving connectivity and reducing software glitches that had been bothering some users. On the road, we have seen some subtle but noticeable changes, including that highly unexpected error. FSD feels slightly more confident in tighter spots, like alleyways or complex intersections. It's not reckless, but definitely more assertive. A couple of quality of life upgrades also make an appearance. There is now camera visibility detection, which alerts you if one of the cameras is dirty, blocked, or malfunctioning. Put together, this version is a quiet but solid step forward. It builds on the progress of version 13, fine tuning its visual pipeline, stabilizing the system, and delivering small enhancements that matter during daily driving. It's not a radical leap, but it's just a bit smarter, sharper, and more stable. But like said, that backsliding needs to be arrested. Before filming this run, I spent a bit of time trying out a couple of other features, Auto Summon and Auto Park. Honestly, I didn't notice any real changes in either. You can see them here on my new Model Y. My earlier reviews were all on my Model 3, not a huge difference but worth mentioning. Both features work well and can be pretty useful at times, but they do demand a seasoned, confident handler, especially in tighter spots. Autopark is still slower than a human driver, no doubt, but if you're not in a rush, it's now fairly reliable. It takes those extra seconds but does a neat, clean job. AutoSummon also good, but its real value shows in big parking lots. And that's where the driver needs to stay sharp and a bit bold. In shorter distances, say 5 cars across, it's more of a party trick than a practical tool. I put out FSD videos from time to time to track its progress. You can check out one of them here. It'll show you how a previous version performed on this exact route. From smoother freeway merges to smarter behavior at intersections, FSD 13.2.9 shows clear signs of progress. It's not perfect, but with better visual processing, improved assertiveness, and added convenience features, it feels like a solid step forward on Tesla's autonomy roadmap. Running it on my usual test route made the differences clear, along with that one big slip up I mentioned earlier. I also gave Autopark and AutoSummon a quick try, just to see where they stand. Let me know in the comments what you think of this update, or if you have seen similar or totally different behavior in your own drives. I've got plenty more EV content you might enjoy, and much more on the way, so do all the right things and stay tuned. You'll find links to my previous videos here and in the description. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.